Don't choke the bear. Lesson 1 in Dreamwork and Dating. The depth of even the simplest image is truly fathomless. James Hillman, Dream and the Underworld. The Dreamwork facilitator in this essay remains anonymous. I respectfully refer to them as M. Did you feel that? M asks. Did you feel what just happened to the bear? It's pre-dawn, Dreamwork hour. About 30 of us are gathered in an unheated room with linoleum floors, our black coffee in styrofoam cups. The other attendees are sleeping in their bunk beds. It's mid-September in the forests of Washington, and we've taken over a rundown used-to-be Bible camp for a Dreamwork training. A moment prior, a man had stood and shared his dream from last night. I recall his frame as strong, his energy as depleted, his aura as that of a recovering alcoholic. But that's all my projection. Look at me, storytelling already. I don't know this man. I don't even know his name. For our purposes, let's call him Zeppelin. I think that was the band shirt he was wearing. This is Zeppelin's dream. There's a giant bear. It's just standing there staring at me. I'm holding a glass of water with a little orange flower painted on it. M nods a thank you. Zeppelin sits and the room drops into silence, the thick kind. I sip my coffee even though it's scalding hot and I've been off caffeine for years, but we all need a subplot, something to do with the body, the limbs, when the air gets thick. Half of me regrets waking up early for this, half of me is razor focused on what's unfolding, tracking every sound and scent, tracking the bear as it moves through the room, through the vagus nerve of every person present. What is M gonna do with this dream? I wonder. A well-intended guy raises his hand and stands up. He gives a few articulate examples of the bear in various mythological stories and what it likely indicates in the dream. Did you feel what just happened to the bear? M asks. Silence. You choked it. You took all the feelings, all the presence that was in this room, the way the bear was moving through us, and you flattened it. The attendant fires off an excuse/apology, but M is not having it. No, he says, you did it because of your own discomfort. The dream arrived for a reason. We are here to be with the bear. Can we invite it back in the room, please? We nod. And we agree, as a group, not to choke it. M asks Zeppelin to stand and speak the dream again, to describe the creature's size, fur, eyes, claws, mouth. Is it leaning, bending, breathing, sniffing? Zeppelin does his best. This time, in his posture and limbs, I catch a glimpse of a frenetic threat, a tension in his body that's unresolved. Maybe something he did, or something that was done to him, or something he's currently thinking about doing. I can hardly look at the guy, and yet this is all my projection. I'm inventing a subplot to get away from the feeling of the bear looking straight at me. Can you tell us about the water in the glass? Can you tell us about the painted flower? M is unwavering, waiting. The rays of sunrise begin to heat the room. Someone starts to cry. I don't know how this happens with dreams, but if you let it, it does. There is no conclusion to our session. There is no aha or click moment that dreamworkers often speak of and are ultimately aimed at. No breakthroughs for Zeppelin, for the bear, or us. All week, M says, The bear is with us. This is our work. Thank you to the dream and the dreamer. We are in a collective dream. Are you okay with hearing that? Am I okay with saying it? When I listen to your dream, it becomes mine. When you listen to my dream, it becomes yours. That is, if we're truly sharing, if we're truly listening, if we put the projections and the subplots and the attempts to choke aside. But who has time for these exchanges? Who has time to sift through the randomness of their own dream material, let alone that of some guy 7 years ago in the Pacific Northwest? I want the dream to be about me, a metaphorical code indicating what I need to do right now in my life to make my life right now better. Right now. The marketing copy reads, Dream Interpretations, how to immediately and effectively decipher the symbolism of the bear and optimize one's life without ever feeling a fucking thing. But what if the bear is about us, sitting with the discomfort of us? What if it arrived that day like big dreams do, as described by elders in nearly every indigenous culture? A dream for everyone. What if it was meant to brew in me for these 7 years with no conclusive interpretation or endpoint, so that I would be inclined to write about it? I would need to write about it to satiate my own longing to understand why did it arrive that morning. This is a willful bear we're dealing with, isn't it? Is it possible that this essay is more about what that bear wants than what I want? Who is in charge here? Who is writing these words? Who is speaking their sounds? I will do my best to grapple with its force, to not forget that the dream also included the glass of water you're holding in your hand, and the orange flower painted upon it. I trust you see these details, the surfaces, the shapes, which hand the glass is in and how full it is. You know if the water is lukewarm or cold, don't you? If you're thirsty, or if you just took a sip. When I ask you who gave you the glass of water, what name comes to mind? This story is not just about the bear. So let's go back for a minute to understand why the well-intended attendant raised their hand in the first place. Why did they attempt to dream-splain all over this mysterious creature? My best theory at this point is it's about power. No matter what you think the bear represents at this point in the essay, don't pretend you don't. We can all agree on one thing. It owns the room. It's bigger than Zeppelin, bigger than M. It's wielding its force over me, the writer, and over you, the listener. It's annoying. We don't know what's going to happen to the water, to the flower, or us. So what do we do with this tension? We break. We trap the bear in preconceived meanings, in inadequate language and pseudo-psychology. We shut down its brute force and unruly longings into phrases like, it's the symbolism of addiction. It represents masculinity, libido. It's the affair you're having. It's the animus. It's Artemis. It's the ancestors. It's domestic violence, or the shadow, or sex, or debt. And if a few people nod in agreement, then boom. The story of the bear is over. We put it back in its rightful place, the cage. And we can once again drink from the thin-rimmed glass with the sacred flower on it. As we bring it to our lips, we recall that every flower is an effortless mandala, a geometric symbol of the self. Even Jung said it. And just like that, all is right in the world. Back to the civilized scrolling and the porn and the podcasts. I can trap a bear with my knowledge of mythology. At least, the symbol of the bear. If the actual one was here, everyone knows what would happen to the flower. Dreams existed before psychology. They are not bound to the cerebral. Note to self, rewatch The Revenant, and if the concept of dreamsplaining isn't already a thing, make it a thing. We are bad at dreams the way we're bad at dating. Please know I'm guilty as charged. Before the first date, I want to scope their astrological charts, human design, tax form, pitch decks, BMI score, and blood tests. Not because I necessarily believe or care about the data points, but because there might be a key somewhere that could protect me from the risk of intimacy, from being changed. I want to know them before I know them. This is the ailment of our time. This is the pain of information. The work is to show up to a dream the same way we show up to a first date, admitting we know nothing about who sits in front of us, yet we are willing to wonder. I have no idea who you are, but I would like to try. And our attempt to know each other, which will always fall short of completion, will become known as the relationship. There really is nothing lonelier than being with someone who thinks they know you inside and out. I imagine the dream symbols feel similarly. We Google them instead of sitting in their presence, diagnosing versus dialoguing, interpreting versus engaging. This is the classic dilemma of subject-object split, amplified by the classic dilemma of mind-heart split. In other words, it's like being on a date and asking Siri what it's like to kiss a Taurus, instead of leaning in and kissing the Taurus. And as a Taurus, who's also kissed a Taurus or two, just go for it. Just get on the spaceship. Side note, when reading this essay out loud, it activated Siri, and she said this: "The Taurus kiss is not aggressive at all. Taurus likes to give you gentle kisses to leave you begging for more." I hope someday Siri has a chance to kiss a Taurus and revise her statement. If any of you out there know my work, you're likely calling me out by now, and rightfully so. I'm the author of 4 guidebooks that attempt to decipher the symbols of the tarot, archetypes, alchemy, and animal kingdom. I did my best, as any scholarly mystic would, to help readers unlock the hidden meanings and messages of esoteric symbols. Maybe this entire essay is an apology for the ways in which I failed at the task, for sending you in the wrong direction, for acting smart, for people-pleasing editors and publishers, for taking away the innate and unbound power of the symbol that called to you. I'm no different than the well-intended guy who raised his hand and dreamsplained with his mythological knowledge. For the record, I will say here, I have no idea what symbols mean. That is why I love them. Try as I might, when I approach the center of them, they invert. They show me their opposite, how everything I thought I knew about them is incorrect, sloppy, and immature. Then, like a mirage, they disappear. The mother slips into the child. The circle slips into the square. The volume slips into the void. Note to self: watch old Care Bear cartoons. Just do it, Kim. It'll help you increase your contrast consciousness of the bear. In AA, there's something called the set-aside prayer. It's spoken before groups read the big book together, knowing that some of them have read the same text over and over during their recovery. It goes something like, "God, help me set aside everything I think I know about you, about myself, about others, about my own recovery, so I may have an open mind and a new experience with all these things." I'm advocating we co-opt this invocation for dreams, that we apply it to the symbol of the eagle, the fawn, the bloodied knife, the closed door, and the open window, and that we apply it to lovers, new and old, whether we wake with them for the first or the 10,000th morning. Dear dream, I set aside everything I think I know about you, your symbols, your language, your methods, your meaning. I do this so I may awaken, in time, to the deeper dream. Dear lover, I set aside everything I think I know about you, about me, love, sex, bodies, relationships, rules, and how this is going to play out. I do this so I may be present with whatever plays out. So, as an experiment, let's pretend we're going on a first date with the bear dream. I've never done this before. It's basically a DIY version of Jung's active imagination dialoguing meets Kim Kranz taking liberties, fly by the seat of her pants, improv, unedited, in real-time experiment. It might go totally awry, but I have to give it a whirl. Let's remember, this is a blind date, set up years ago by Zeppelin, who knows nothing about this essay. My first date with the bear. This date takes place in the yard at my family's deer camp in Michigan. It's a crisp October night and the moon is out. I'm wearing a snowsuit, showing no skin. I have a knife in my boot, just in case. I stand 10 feet from the bear, our breath visible in the dark. Intermittent snowflakes glisten in the yard light. What is your name? I ask the bear. God, he says. Wow, now that's an intro. I'm mentally tracking how long it would take to take the knife from my boot and throw it into its chest, if need be. I estimate 6 seconds. Why are you afraid of me? He asks. Everyone is afraid of you, I say. Look at you. He looks at himself, turning his claws over in the moonlight, taking in their sight. What am I doing wrong? He says. What makes you stand so far from me? I don't trust you, I say. It's a trick. Try. Take one step to me. No, I say. You kill and devour and then hibernate. Then I remember this is a first date. Kim, don't tell the person who they are. Ask them questions. What do you want? I ask. To keep living, he says, just like you. This date does not end with a makeout session. We just stand there, eyeing each other in the night. Can I see you again? The bear asks. No, I say. But in my voice, I hear a maybe. My date with a glass of water. I'm wearing a strappy silver dress and lip gloss. I walk across a rooftop bar somewhere in LA. As I take my seat, the glass of water appears on the table in front of me. This is the sexiest date I've been on in a long time. Wow, glass of water, you're beautiful. This is the water speaking, not the glass. Okay, I say. Water, what do you do for a living? I move. Okay. I move things around to where they're supposed to be. I run through everything. But right now I'm stuck in this glass. I haven't moved for a long time and I need to be let out. Can I help? There's 3 options. You can drink me, pour me out, or let the bear shatter the glass. Are you looking for a relationship? I ask. I'm not monogamous, the water says. This isn't about you. Water needs to move. Water serves everyone. I'm a little embarrassed that I got so dressed up for this date. But I bring the glass of water to my lips anyways. I drink it. Thank you, it says, moving down my throat. I've been waiting for you to do that for 7 years, since the dream appeared. Valet pulls up with my car, and when I get in, Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah is playing. I drive home alone on the freeway, wondering how long it takes water to circulate around the earth, the hydrological cycle. What are the chances that we touch the same water or drink the same water twice in our lives? Jeff Buckley, he drowned himself in a river, didn't he? Maybe I'm making this up, all this talk of water. Siri says, the musician Jeff Buckley drowned himself while swimming in the Wolf River, a tributary of the Mississippi. Note to self, listen to Hallelujah, look up Wolf River. My date with the orange flower. I'm wearing a ceremonial dress, holding a single marigold in my hand. By the scents and sounds, I know I'm in India. Someone touches my arm. Follow me. They lead me through the winding streets of Varanasi, narrow alleys packed with vendors, sadhus, cows, kids, and rickshaws. This sacred city at night is like a movie set of an ancient apocalypse, fires burning, incense, the hum of chanting at the edge of earth. My guide, is he my date, or is the flower my date? Leads us to the banks of the Ganga River, where we sit near stacks of firewood as high as buildings, lines of corpses adorned head to toe in golden fabric and flowers, and the dark silhouettes of moving figures. Some tend to the fire, some bring ash to the river, some sit in prayer. We are at the burning ghats, I realize. I sit down, holding the marigold. I know this place to be the auspicious Manikarnika Ghat, the oldest cremation ground in the world. Its fires have been burning since the beginning of recorded time, never extinguished. It is said that this is the final destination, the end of the journey of reincarnation. This is the ceremonial endpoint. I want to ask my guide what we're doing here. What do I do with a marigold? How can I unlock its meaning, its message? Instead, I close my eyes and cup my hands around it. I let the chanting move through me. After some time, my friend recites a prayer I know to be from the Rig Veda. I have been meaning to learn this prayer for years now, and I am ashamed and sad that I just haven't yet. Here I am at the sacred endpoint on this night with this flower, and I do not know the words of the prayer. It strikes me then that I will never know all the prayers. I will never even hear them all. I see myself returning again and again, life after life, until my ears have absorbed every prayer that exists. I don't care how long it takes. The marigold begins to feel like the most precious thing I have ever held in my hands. Electrified, blazing, and yet I feel its insignificance, how it just can't hold the infinite prayer I want to offer to the fire, the deaths, the lives, and the river. It's just one flower. That is all I have to give. I remember the words of Black Elk. This is my prayer. Hear me. The voice I have sent is weak. yet with earnestness I assent it. With this, I take the marigold down to the river and drop it into the current. In the dark, I cannot see where it lands, how it moves, where it is headed. Note to self: reread Black Elk Speaks. I want to take a minute to regroup, to acknowledge we may have gone too far with the dreams, the dates. I'm a little self-conscious, like the morning after the first makeout session. Did we cross the line? With the Wolf River, or the snow falling in Michigan, the rooftop in LA, the burning Ghats, do we need to talk about it? Was that good for you? Will I see you again? Whatever comes to pass between us, I want to take us back one last time to the room with the linoleum floor, to the Dreamwork choice point, the moment everything hinges on. Had we accepted the well-intended dream interpretations as true, the story would have ended there. This essay does not exist. I am not its writer, and you are not its listener. The marigold is never dropped into the river, and it would have no chance of finding you in the night, within the infinite current of dreams. Perhaps the only interpretation of the dream that is true is this: it arrived to bring us together. Thank you to the dream and the dreamer.